Hey, welcome to another segment of Shade Sale TV. Yes, we are selling shade sails, and yes, it's tons of snow where we are. However, we thought we'd still shoot this video because we're still working selling shade sails down to our people in the south, and we wanted to get a good time to start planning for your summer shade if you need it. So let's get into some post detail, which is why I'm standing next to a beautiful steel post here. First, I'm going to touch on wooden posts, because in most residential, or not most, but a lot of residential applications, you'll be considering wood for the affordability, the weight, the easier to manage. Steel is an option as well. We'll get into that, but we'll start with wood. So in most cases, you're going to be considering a 6x6 wood, timber, pressure treated so that it doesn't rot. So when you put it in the concrete in the ground, it'll last you many, many years. That's something you can get from your local Home Depot, Home Hardware, wherever is in your area, and that's going to give you enough strength. If you go down to a 4x4, the post is going to deflect too much. So you have to get substantial in your post size in order to get your shade sail tight enough such that the wind won't affect it. That is paramount. So the key to your shade sail success are your posts. So let's go to the post a little bit. Obviously, a square post, you can orientate it the way you wish. If you want to add one of our traveler systems, ideally that orientation, the flat bit, is facing the angle that the tension will be on. So if you have a traveler on it, you can attach it to your post and go up and down. However, wherever you orientate that post, you're going to be providing measurements from where you indicate on your post anyway. The sail will be cut to go to that point. So don't stress about getting them perfectly oriented. We can take the measurements after and cut the sail to fit. Applications. Where would you use steel? Where to use wood? As I said before, wood typically used in residential. Wood certainly not used for large spans. Premium product is steel for the longevity. It's going to give you way more life and way more strength. That said, we work with this great company called Kinsall Timber. They build playgrounds out of wood, and I'm sure folks have seen those. So we can and do attach sails to wooden posts, predominantly steel in a commercial application. And so again, wood in a residential application, you want to get up to a 6x6. Don't be contemplating anything less. You're going to deal with deflection. Everybody asks, which I totally get, where do I get the steel? I want to upgrade. I don't want to use the wood from the Home Hardware or whatever, Home Depot. I want to find steel. Well, it's actually not as hard as you think, but it's not in a store. In most every town, whether it be small, you're going to have 2 or 3 fabricators, steel fabricators. They supply steel pipe like this for various things. So call your local fabricator. First of all, inquire with us what posts you need. Typically, it's going to be 5-inch for a smaller, like 20-foot, 25-foot shade sail, going up to 6-inch steel, 1/4-inch wall for larger sails. So inquire with your local fabricator about steel around that size, 1/4-inch wall. He's most likely, or she's most likely, going to stock that product. Don't try to start ordering custom steel sizes, because that's when it gets expensive. So this stuff is not that expensive. You can have the rough finish, as we've said, or you can have the galvanized finish, rust finish. They'll have that option for you, and they will also give you the opportunity to powder coat it if you wish. One of the things that people always ask is, how should I put my post plumb straight up and down? Can I push my post out? Absolutely you can. So whether with wood or steel, it doesn't have to be plumb up and down. It can be splayed out, and it's just a matter of preference. Either way, it's going to go into a concrete footing, or a solid ground, or a base plate. There's another option is a base plate. We can have commercial, for our commercial applications, sometimes we're doing a bolt pattern and bolting the post onto a base plate. That is also an option in residential commercial applications. Typically residential are dealing in wood, and it's more simple ballast footing into the concrete. So post finishes, this is a galvanized post finish, and I'm standing almost at the top, but I'm 5 feet on 5 feet of snow here. Galvanized post finish. This is a rougher, more industrial look, but will last forever. The other option is powder coating, or even rust is a really cool look too, which we do in some applications. Point being here is this is a 6.5-inch diameter post. Some people go, oh my gosh, it's so big. Why would I need that? There's a lot of tension on this. Even if I hit this post, it'll bounce around and deflect. So when a sail gets on it, it will still deflect even though it's steel. 6.5-inch, 1/4-inch wall post will still deflect with weight. This is about 10 feet above grass ground. So when you go higher, like this one behind me, that's an 8.5-inch post, because we're spanning sort of 25, 30 feet. That's a larger post, so then you're dealing with, it can handle the stress load. So the higher you go, you usually up your size in post. Again, it seems like a big post, but there's a heck of a lot of load on these posts. So they need to be able to handle the force so the sail tensions properly and the wind doesn't affect it. Look, we're here, we're available all the time. So don't feel you have to guess. Ask us, if I'm going to this size, I want to go this high off the ground, what post size do you suggest? We also can have it engineered for you, whether that be residential or commercial, typically not in residential. Our engineers can tell you the size of the footing, size of the post needed, the wall thickness, etc. A lot of people ask, residents or commercial, do I need sonotubes? We rarely use sonotubes because if you're going to virgin soil, the soil typically holds itself. So you don't need a sonotube as long as your soil is holding its cylindrical or square shape. You can put the posts in, pour the concrete, and there's a little video we do on the concrete, how you want to pour it a bit dry so you don't have to brace the post. So you can watch that video, but essentially pour your concrete or mix your concrete a little bit dry so the post doesn't have to be braced. That's a little tip. But no, it does not need necessarily need a sonotube if, as I say, your hold is holding shape and or you're not having to dig a massive hole. A lot of time you're using a sonotube to compress the amount of concrete you need, but we're using a hydrovac when we dig, or an auger, so you get a clean hole that doesn't require a lot of concrete. The other thing that's not necessarily necessary is rebar cages. Rebar cages are not essential. I would say 30% of our jobs that are engineered require rebar cages. It usually depends on the type of soil, the size of post, the size of sail. In most cases, not required. Any questions, ask us, we can clarify that. Because a lot of time we get asked, what do I need to do to my post, whether it be steel or wood, to attach to it? How do I attach? What does the sail come? It's simple. Now this one you can't really see, but there's a through bolt here. This is the back side of it. And on the other side, we just have a ring that we send to you. Or you can order it, or you can have it yourself. All you need to do when preparing your steel or wooden post is have a through hole in the top. If it's wood, you can even just buy some of our, if it's a smaller sail, buy one of our screw eyes that will go into the wood and not even go all the way through. So it's a fairly simple setup. You don't need to think too much about it. You don't need to get too elaborate on making brackets. It's just a through hole. We can supply you the rod and the eye. Just give us the diameter of your post. We'll cut it to length and put it in there for you. So you don't really have to think about much. If you're measuring without your hardware and we're shipping it to you, just put a little X where you're going to put your connection point. And another thing to consider is, obviously, if the sail is going to attach this way, you don't want to have the anchor connection around the side of the post. You want it to be where the sail is going. So in this case, you know, we're pointing over to this sail connection across to that post over there. We have the eye facing that way. So you can measure without this hardware. Just put an X when you're measuring. Then you know when you get the hardware from us, you just install it where the X is. The other thing I want to mention is posts are great, but the best way to attach, if you can, is to a building. In this case, we didn't have any at this park, and a lot of obviously parks don't have buildings. But if you've got, whether it be a senior's home or whether it be a daycare or even your own house, you can attach to good solid structure on the house. So certainly consider the post design and using the posts. We can help with the design, but also consider attaching to buildings. Great option, way less expensive option, and we've got all the hardware, corner brackets, internal corner brackets, rafter brackets, roof brackets. We've got all kinds of stuff that we've sourced from all over the place, and it gives you great options to attach to buildings, houses. Make sure you consider that, because that's a lot of work putting one of these in. Not hard to do, but it is an extra step that you don't need to take if you've got a building you can attach to. Okay, folks, I hope that really helps you with all your post considerations, questions, and stuff. Again, we're always available. Don't hesitate to call us. Signing off from beautiful Revelstoke. It looks a lot colder than it is. We've got the beautiful helicopters coming in from heli skiing, but we're doing it here for the cause. We're standing out here in the cold to shoot this for you. Hopefully gives you the info you need. Give us a call if you need us. Shade Sails Canada, baby.